Hi guys.
Thank you.
Welcome to episode 7. I can't believe it's already been
Wow.
7 episodes. God, I mean, the fact that we're doing this and doing it just kind of as a thing to help people. It's like I can't believe that we're already into week 7 of just this little bit. I mean, can you imagine what other people are going through at the moment? I mean, it's just crazy.
Pretty much stinks for everyone.
It does. It stinks for everybody at the moment. So anyway, so if you guys are joining us on Facebook, thank you for joining us for Behind the Veil episode 7. Today we're going to be talking about should I or shouldn't I? And we don't really have a real specific direction for this episode. A lot has happened over the last week, not just to myself but a lot of event planners and a lot of things that are happening for this fall are now all of a sudden changing. And people are moving, and the things that were fine for 1 or 2 weddings are now becoming an issue for like 10 or 12 weddings. So today we're going to discuss the pros and cons of moving your date, right? So, I mean, Marcy, we've already talked about, how you would go about moving, letting people know. I saw something super cute that we're actually going to do for one of my weddings is that we're sending masks out with a little note that says, we're moving our date in hopes that you don't have to wear this, which I thought was super cute.
Very clever.
I mean, have you seen any other things like that?
Yes. I mean, there's also, you could put on an invitation or even a reception card if you don't want to put it on the actual invitation, something to the effect of, please don't come if you're sick, but please bring your mask, please bring your PPE, please bring your mask. You could actually make like a fun and beautiful mask for the bride and for the bride and the groom, but for the bride especially, you would want to maybe make it a little more fancy than what you're giving to your guests, or that they're wearing on their own, maybe something that kind of matches her dress a little bit more, but just really embrace the situation. I mean,
yeah,
now we don't know when it's going to let up a little bit,
right.
So if you're planning to have it, in the time being, in the near future, I would plan to have the masks and make sure to also, as a host, provide for your guests should they not come with one, because ultimately they should be coming with their own.
Well, the interesting thing is that you and I were just literally talking offline before we started the broadcast about the fact that about people's perceptions about whether or not they feel it's okay not to come to an event now.
Exactly. I mean, I think that at this point, people really need to, people are going to be much more understanding now than they've ever been before. It was all about, you need to come to my wedding, or I'm expecting you to come. Now people are much more aware that there is a possibility not everybody who you're inviting may attend. So because of that, you're going to be more, I think more people are going to be more understanding. And as a guest, you should not feel obligated to go. If you go, great. And if you don't want to go because you feel that it's not the right thing for you, that's also great. I mean, you have to figure out what is best for each individual. There's nobody that you can say, it's not a one size fits all anymore.
It sucks. I mean, as I just put that out there, it sucks because, the thing is that before we used to say, if you send out 100 invitations, you're going to get a 20% knockoff. Like you're going to have 20% of the people that typically will say, sorry,
attrition.
I can't come. And attrition. Yeah. But, the thing is now we don't know where that number is going to be because.
Unless they're steak.
Right.
They always show up for steak. Steak on. I mean,
they do. They do always show up for meat, don't they? It's just the craziest thing. But now, I mean, the thing is that how do we judge, how big of a space? Because now people are like, you know what? It's okay for me to say no. I don't want to go. Where before this, they were like, oh shit, we have to go. We've known them for a long time.
Right.
I mean, that whole idea of being not kind. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Diplomatic.
That's gone out the window. People don't have to be diplomatic anymore. They can go, screw off. We don't want to come to your damn wedding. And we're going to blame.
We can't take that chance.
We can't take that chance. And now we get to blame it on Corona.
Right.
It's no longer like we don't have an excuse. everybody now has a freaking excuse about not going to a social event.
If every
Exactly.
DJ has not downloaded that freaking Corona song by now, I mean,
But you
because
know,
I can see when we do it, I can see it being that, you know,
Right.
the joke about all with the mask and stuff like that.
But,
You
and
know,
it
it's,
is,
I want to interrupt a little bit. I went and
can you
after
interrupt just a
64
little
days.
bit? I don't
Yeah,
know
I'm
what
gonna
this-
interrupt. After 64, because we're talking about like going and the dangers and being scared. Because I'm like, God knows I want to go back to work. I'm about ready to jump off this bridge over here. But here's the thing too. I don't want to get sick. You know what I'm saying?
What?
I don't want to get my boyfriend sick. You know, all that kind of stuff. I went and got my nails done after 64 days. Keith, you know how I am every 2 weeks, paws and claws.
Yeah.
So I really had like the worst paws and claws ever. And my salon actually, like, I almost felt interrogated. I went in there, I had to take out my phone and snap this thing and then do this questionnaire, release them from anything.
Yeah.
And then he comes up to me with this gun, shoots it at my head, and then takes my temperature.
I know. I mean, we had the same thing.
Clever. And I felt the thing was I was so nervous to go in there, because I'm like, what, vein? I was so nervous to go, but I wanted it so bad. But I was still like, you know what? I'll just stay home. I've been home. No one sees me anyway. Keith, you're the one that sees me.
Right.
And I went and then they had the shields up and everything at the station too, which was great.
But, you know,
so
and
there's
that's the
ways
thing.
around it. I'm like, blame it on the hotels, make the hotels take temps. Like, there's ways to keep us safe, which made me feel a little bit better after I went. You know, they didn't give me any wine though.
I know,
and
right?
they fired my nail tech too, so it was like great.
It's like, what the hell? You're not going to give us wine? Really? Please.
Yeah,
We're risking our lives to be
I have my
here. You're
little
not going to give me
Versace
wine?
mask, my birthday's from the forum on. Well, they called me 20 minutes before. They're like, "Oh, your girlfriend," because that's what I call her, or my good Judy, my girl. She didn't come into work today. Clock the T. I have this new girl. She did my nails first, and I am like, I need a coffin ombre. You know, I'm real specific. I go have a cigarette down by the bank. Is they on there, Keith? You know what I'm talking about because you go.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I hear, "Honey, how are you today?" And she had her mask on and she's waving her final paycheck. So I said nothing. I smoked my little cigarette. I went inside. I had my pedicure done. And I left. I said, "This is the second person I've been here 9 years. This is the second person you've let go." I said, "I'll follow her." Thank God Kevin opened up his shop. Quit firing the good kids.
Well,
So
the thing is,
what the drum was, but I got her phone
you
number.
know,
We'll talk about it later.
here's the thing: is that it's not just affecting us. I mean, Nicole and I had a conversation earlier. You know, as a small business, this is gonna really screw us. I mean, the thing is that before, if you had asked me a week ago whether or not you should move your wedding, I would have said no. By October, this is gonna be fine. What I'm finding, I'm not worried about the virus. I'm actually now worried about the possibility of having people be able to move their wedding. Because before, when 1 or 2 weddings moved, no big deal. Fine. Shift it over. It's not that big a deal for a small business.
But half your season.
But that now,
the first quarter of your season.
Oh God, you know, I had 4 weddings move just in the last 4 days. I mean, and that's just me. So, you know, unfortunately, small businesses now have to start thinking about change fees, you know, because unfortunately, in the world of business, small businesses don't have that ability to really move that much money from one year to the next. And it's not just about moving the date. Now there's a second date that's no longer available to sell. So how are you, I mean, and I'm getting to a question here. How are you guys working, trying to explain the change fee to your clients? Or how would you explain it so that they understand that it's not a personal thing, it's about survival? Nicole, any?
I have absolutely no insight on whatever. No, just kidding.
You're like,
we're not used to it.
I don't have to do that.
I'll kind of start off with the question or start off with an answer for you.
Yeah.
I'm not directly affected because my product is something that is tangible, it's personalized, and it's a sellable item right then and there. So once an order is placed, it is done. You know, I mean, that it is yours at that point, meaning it cannot be resold. Right. However, if you have a company where you're on the hook for all these different vendors, such as you, Keith, Nicole, where you might be working with other and you're responsible to pay them, the company may or may not let you out of a date. So they may hold you more accountable for the date, especially since it is now really considered an optional item.
Yeah.
Opposed to it's no longer considered, shut down by government.
Well, and that's the thing.
If places are opening back up.
Because now it's a choice. Now,
Exactly.
Before, the government had shut everything down. So we had to move stuff. Things had to be canceled because the government had told us this is not, you don't have the possibility. Moving forward, though, and I think this is super important for people to understand, is that it's no longer mandated. If you move your date, it's a choice. It's a choice that I think that people should make because, you want to make sure you keep your guests healthy and you do everything you can to protect the people that you love. But at the end of the day, it's a choice of whether or not to move it.
And let's say you have 7 vendors doing 7 different things, Keith. We do this all the time. We put our hands on all kinds of pies to pull off amazing events. And so now it's not just a $500 shift here or there. It's a $500 to $1,000 to God knows what 7 different times.
Yeah.
Right.
There's my whole entire paycheck that's our whole entire gig gone right there.
Well,
Just
exactly.
cancellation fees alone.
Well, I recently had someone contact for a quote for an event in the fall. And I had to be really, really specific about deposits and refunds and moving. And that had to be made very, very, very clear and make sure people understand that,
Right.
This pricing is for this particular date. If you go to any other date, you can't guarantee that 1, it'll be available, but 2, it's the way it is, unfortunately. So I think a lot of clarification around deposits and refunds and what's refundable and how is it refundable and if it is. So,
Well, and that's one of the things that I've been really warning clients about too is like, look, you signed a contract. It's in there. We'll have a cancellation policy, and there probably is a move policy in there. Like my contract has a move date. Like it says in there, if you need to move your date, you have to check with the planner first to make sure that the date is available. If the date is not available, then you lose your deposit.
Right.
Because I try to do everything I possibly can to help people and move these dates. But again, when we talk about small businesses, I just recently had a photographer that had to charge a $500 change fee. To me, that was incredible. The fact that that was all she charged us. And, the band had originally was going to charge us $4,000 to move it. But because it was an off date, because we moved it to a September date versus a season date, they waived that fee. So I think that's the other piece that I want to get to is that, it's if you want to move your date, I think people need to be flexible about when they move it to. Because if they move it to a Friday or a Sunday, where a business normally wouldn't have booked it, because Saturdays are obviously the most popular dates, that's okay. I find okay, if you move it to a Saturday in season, there may be a fee. But if you move it to a Friday or Sunday, we could waive that fee. What do you think?
absolutely.
Time for brunch weddings again, just like last time we talked a few episodes ago, right?
Right. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a brunch wedding.
And
So
like I said, it's going to push us to and I mentioned this in this segment that we did, that it's going to push us to be more creative. Budgets are going to get a little weird. They're going to get a little tighter, obviously. We're going to have to think outside the box, I guess, And for someone like Nicole, who already thinks outside the box and blows my mind at all times, how do you elevate perfection? You know what I'm saying? This girl really blows my mind.
I'm sorry, you got a little something on your nose there.
I talk about her all the time behind her back. It's always good stuff. And I tell her too, your mind, I'm like, I want to be here at all times. I'll take the trash out. I don't care. I just want to watch you work.
Oh my goodness.
I don't totally suck, but she really makes me be the best Brooke I can be because she is so creative and she thinks about things like the apple, that whole thing that we did on the rooftop. It was just so many great things I've been involved with, and I'm so blessed to be the newbie here and to see her amazing mind. And
It's not my amazing mind. It's a team effort with everybody.
Right.
We all feed off.
We can't do backflips inside your brain. You are the thinker and you put the army to work, but those are your ideas. And you need to be. She needs to have the credit for those. That she dreams up these dreams, and whatever crew she hires to help her make her dream. You know, Daddy always said, when you can afford it, pay for convenience.
Yeah.
So I don't have a house cleaner yet, but you know, I love you, Nicole. I think you're amazing. I always say that. And Marcy, you're fabulous, by the way. I don't know what's going on. I thought I was, you know, giving it, but Marcy put me together today.
With all that, yes, nice new hairdo. It was nice to finally get out.
Nicole stole the first
Needed some fun.
So
Needed more spunk in my life.
I desperately need to go to the hair salon. I haven't been out of my house. So. But
Needed something fun and spunky to kind of, you know, get rid of all the blah.
Yeah. So Nicole, what were you saying?
I was saying that what's interesting is you could have an item, you could have, I had old letters from old signs, remember, I don't know, in the warehouse. And you looked at them and you saw a cute and a different cocktail tray. You thought it would be cute to have served using those letters as kind of a tray to serve drinks. And I had never thought of that. So that's what's great about the event industry and the vibe we get off each other. And I always say it takes a village for an event, and it's definitely not one person. So I appreciate you guys, and you make me better, and I love working with you.
Well, and honestly, and we're going to get through all of this. Honestly, I feel like all the small businesses, we're going to get through this. But the thing is that we're going to have to do even more now than ever about educating our clients, about educating clients just in general, about the idea of what it takes to have a small business, and just the fact that we don't have the same resources that some of these larger companies do. So when unfortunately there comes a moment that we have to move the date, there's sometimes going to have to be a fee. And I don't want, how do I get across to my clients? Not that I'm doing a fee currently, because I'm not, but how do I get across to my clients? And this is where I'm going to ask you guys again, how are you going to tell your clients that this is not a personal thing? There's nothing personal about it. You know, they're not trying to gouge you, right? They're not trying to, you know, take advantage of the situation. Sometimes it's just based on survival.
Well, hopefully we will have, you know, the clients 99% of the time are awesome. Yeah, let's talk about it, you know, but I feel like at some point and their job and their livelihood, right, they're gonna hopefully they're gonna be understanding, you know, depending on what they do. But a lot of I think most of our clients are, for the most part, pretty understanding. Unless your emails lie, Keith, I don't know. But you know, I know we've had to move some stuff, and it's been a little frustrating. But I'm just laughing it off and paying it on mine, because if I start bawling like a little 2-year-old, Keith's the one that always picks me up. So I'm like, well, if I start crying and if he's upset and he's worried or he's concerned, then I guess, you know, put on the boxing gloves. But you know, we're all in this together. And when Keith asked me to co-host this a few weeks ago, I'm like, well, just so you know, there's only certain people I like working with.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I mean, so again, how do you, Marcy, or Nicole, how do you get across? I mean, how do you explain this to clients in a way that they understand it and that they get it? You know, how do you make it so that, you know, because sometimes when you explain something to some people, you have to put it in terms that they understand, that they already know, that's in their world.
I think what I would do is probably recommend to my clients, and as again, you know, this would be from a perspective point. I think what I would say is, you know, really think before you change the date. And yes, I do think, you know, if you feel like you need to change the date and you need to tell your client to change the date, I would say think really carefully about when you want to move that date, because you don't want to wind up moving it more than once or twice, because every time you change it, then there are going to be, we're already out of that point of being able to cancel something and having the hotel or the vendor waive any charges. We're now at the point that they're going to start having charges, and I don't want you to client, I don't want you to have to absorb any additional costs beyond what you really need to. So my recommendation to you as my client would be to say, you know, choose your date very carefully, because you want to minimize your additional costs, and really kind of put the onus on them to really think about moving forward and how to proceed. Because ultimately our responsibility to our client is advise,
Right.
make recommendations. Ultimately, it's their decision. And so we need to kind of give them a little bit of a buy-in factor to that decision.
Well, and the thing is, as a planner, I have to be super honest with my clients. What I'm finding is that not everybody is being as direct as they should be or need to be in this really scary time. I mean, you don't sugarcoat this kind of situation. You just don't. It's already sucks. I mean, I am already giving, I know, but I'm already having to give bad news to brides who have thought about this their entire life and who are already miserable at the fact that they have to think about the possibility of their party having masks on. The last thing that they need from me is to sugarcoat this and then for it to then hit them again later because I wasn't honest, completely honest now.
Right. And I think that, and ultimately it's up to us to say, I'm sure that as a bride, the last thing you would want to do is infect everybody at that reception or everybody at that ceremony. And then, who will be there down the road as your marriage continues? Who in your life that's important to you will be there to have those celebrations with you if they're infected? So, that's, unfortunately, it's something that we really have to get them to understand that, yes, it's their decision, but they have to think about the best interest of their pocketbook and of their guests.
And that's the problem here, guys. I feel like this is what we're having to try to decide between. We're trying to decide between people's lives and finances. And I feel like that's where the whole freaking country is at this moment. It's like, how much is a life worth? And, if it was a normal world, we wouldn't have to think about this because this kind of stuff, it would be nature. But now the fact that we've been given a choice of whether or not to keep it, in a relatively, let's say, dirty bomb area versus moving it to an unknown possibility, we don't know if this is going to come back. So is moving the date really a good idea? I mean,
well, isn't this the whole point of the wedding is the whole fairy tale? It's the bride. She just wants to walk down the aisle and be kissed, not by the kiss of death.
Right.
And that's literally what we're facing right now. Literally.
I also don't want people to feel like we don't want to do these events and we don't want them to not do these events. I mean, these are special moments in their lives. It's an important day. It's really about finding that balance and making sure that it's something that you can live with. If it means doing something on a very small scale for now,
right,
2 years or a year from now, you do something grand, so be it. At least you at some point, yes, you do have to take a little bit of a chance.
Right.
It's your chance to take with yourself. And so if you want to do, like I said, a small wedding or something, then plan for that big one for next year, So I'm actually gonna punt this. Did I just use a sports term? What is wrong with me? What was
anyway,
that?
I'm like,
what was that?
I've been in quarantine way too long that I start thinking about sports. Oh my God. Anyway, I was actually gonna pass this over to Nicole because Nicole came up with something earlier that I just thought was very cool, was the idea of shift events.
What is it called?
Will you explain that a little bit to the people that are kind of watching?
When I used to be special event manager with the Seminole Tribe of Florida, sometimes we would have events where we would be, inviting thousands of people. Oh, but we did not want these thousands of people to show up at the same time.
Right.
So what we actually created was a flow event where we would actually invite people during a certain time frame. So for instance, and this could be applicable in other ways, whether it be social events or corporate events. And it could, basically what we did is on the invitations, we are 3 similar invitations, but what was different was about the time of the event.
Yeah.
So people were invited for a 2-hour time window from 12 to 2. Some people were invited for a 2-hour time window from 2 to 4, and some people were invited. So the events were maybe a bit longer. And then people checked in. And when people checked in, they were given like a lanyard or something. So, I mean, you could do something cute with a wedding, like it could be different colored masks or something to kind of symbolize your time period. It doesn't really work for the ceremony part itself, but it does work for other social occasions. Like if you were having a birthday party or, or something, or a baby shower or something along those lines, and you wanted to invite maybe more than 10 people at a time, but you didn't want them all there at the same time. You kind of can create a flow.
Right.
And that was the way we used to manage the crowds, and still encourage people to come kind of all day long, which is what we wanted. So it could work in a different scenario.
Well, and I think that's the thing is that, one of the things I'm telling my clients, it's like, look, you need to make a decision. I'm going to give you the pros and cons to making the decision. But once you make the decision, be done with it, and then figure out how to do a great event given the parameters. And I love the idea of a shift event because, honestly, when's the last time you really wanted to be around people for 4 hours?
They're gonna love it anyways. By the time it comes down to it, they're gonna be just so thankful that you take the small. I think we've all learned in the last few months we take the smallest things for granted.
We really do, but you know what I mean. I mean, the only reason we can stand to be at a wedding for 5 hours is because of the bar. I mean,
well,
we all know that the. Because we all know that the only reason people are able to stay the 5 hours is because there's an open bar. I mean, how many times have you heard people go, "Is there an open bar?" I mean, that's literally the first question that comes out of their mouth when they realize that they have to be around people for more than 2 hours. So maybe the shift idea isn't a horrible thing to think about as a possibility. I mean,
now people can come in and see the room and and enjoy a cocktail and some past hors d'oeuvres or something, and in a very hygienic way and be on their way. And so, but I mean, it could work with a lot of corporate events as well. So I mean, I think it has some useful applications, and it's really not that hard. If you're sending out one invitation, what's the difference just to change the time? I mean, it might be a little extra cost, right, Marcy, but not that much. Or you could
and there she is, thinking outside the box, like she always does. See, Nicole, again, always thinking outside the box.
Well, like I said, we used to do it at the casinos to try to manage flow. And I'm curious, I
don't know her. Flo?
I don't know Flo. What? It's so weird. I love it.
I want to see smiles.
But
so Nicole's smiling.
I know. So Marcy, like if we wanted to do something that's on the shift, like, because, we've been doing weddings like on a brunch. We've been thinking outside the box, about reimagining the weddings. I mean, a lot of our conversation over the last 7 weeks have been about like, how do you change your perception and what do you do when you come up with a new idea? So let's say we go with the idea of a shift kind of event. I mean, is there a proper way to state this is your time slot, or does that feel like a buffet?
I think that you would really have to choose, if you're doing the same invitation, and maybe have a calligrapher handwrite in, because they're going to be small events.
Right.
So maybe have a calligrapher handwrite in, or if you have really nice handwriting yourself, handwrite in the name of the groom, and maybe their time.
Yeah.
Or just do an invitation on a smaller scale, meaning just do like the minimum that you can do.
Right. I mean, the thing is
do have there are minimums with them, just to get them printed, but we can always figure something out. I mean, there's certainly a way to do it on a smaller scale.
Right.
Or you do the same invitation, but you don't have a time in it, and you do the stickers with the times like you were talking about.
Exactly. Or handwrite them in. And I mean, it would still look really nice. It's just, again, we're in different times, and there's not so much of this so-called etiquette that you would normally see, because we have to kind of get out of the traditional or the way that we're used to seeing things. And like Nicole was saying, think outside the box and do it outside the box. And just, and I mean, we have to kind of just look at it in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of what a wedding used to be, I think, is going to be forever lost on 2020. And I don't
Yes.
really even think 2021 is going to be that great either. I mean, this was supposed to be the year of clarification, and that everything was going to come into line of sight. And to be honest, ladies and gentlemen out there, this year has sucked. This
Yeah.
sucks. It all sucks.
And
And
I've
you know
been
that-
watching the comments, scrolling through really quickly, and Abigail has used the added shift component for a baby shower, and it worked great. So.
Oh,
we're
see,
kind of on
that's
the
a
same
cool
page
idea.
here.
What was
Yeah.
that
Tony
one?
Duncan, hi Tony, and my training mom Kirsten is watching.
No, but let's go back to what Abigail talked about. She talked
Yeah.
about doing a
Great
shift baby
point.
shower.
And I added a shift component for a baby shower, and it worked great.
See, I like
Yeah,
that idea.
I
I
mean,
mean,
Somebody's
not?
got to have ideas. That's what they pay us for. You know what I'm saying? Talent, ideas, these things.
well,
know.
they pay us because we get to
When
watch
I
the
was younger,
comments
would
on
smile and be
Facebook.
pretty. Now
Well,
I'm like, I gotta
we'll let
work
other
and
people
stuff.
do the thinking for us. I think that's probably a good thing to do.
Yeah, we can do something small for now
Yeah,
and do a virtual component just to kind of allow other people to be there if they can't be there, whether it's regional.
yeah, but come on. When's the last time you
Who's
wanted to
that?
watch somebody's virtual wedding for 3?
Well, who wants to
hours?
see
I
a
mean-
Zoom funeral?
I mean,
If you're a family
that
member
just
if you're a family member and you're at high risk,
yeah.
at least it's a way for
Yeah.
you to be there at
Well,
least.
but the thing is that I think it's great for the wedding itself, which is 30 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
right? In and out, you're done. But if I'm at home watching this, there's going to become a moment where either I get really bored or really pissed at the fact that I'm not there, or it depresses me. I mean,
Turn it off.
turn it off, right? So, and then of course, you see your numbers drop in your viewership, and you're the bride and groom, and you're like, oh, people aren't watching this
Right.
anymore. It's like,
So I think that for like a corporate piece of business, I think
Yeah.
virtual reality will be here for a long time, if not forever. For social pieces of business like weddings or baby showers and such, it might be here for a short time, and then eventually it will trickle away.
right. Nicole, you were going to say something earlier. I'm sorry. I wanted to make sure that we got back to you because I thought you had a comment.
I'm sorry, I get mouthy.
I would think it was after Abigail's comments, she added a shift component to her baby shower. I was saying, I think because people would like to participate in these things, but they just want to, make sure they can maintain social distance and be safe. But I think people would like to go, but if they knew that they could have some more control over it, because right now we feel out of control of everything. So.
Right. By the way, Michael Sellers asked if you're really cute and asked if you were available for a date.
Yeah, I just caught that, by the way.
So say hi to your husband.
She's dateable.
To be married.
She's single for the foreseeable future, so you got an in. You definitely got an in.
Hi Tyler. Hi Cheryl.
Hi
I'm
guys.
getting into the comments a little bit. We gotta pay attention.
Oh,
to
so
the
Abigail says, break it down into scenes: the ceremony, vows, the kiss, the introduction, into reception, event space to first dance, and to leave personal messages. Oh, so she's talking about the virtual part, right? Break it down into. Love that, actually, because then you can tune into the stuff that you really care about and not tune in for the stuff that you don't really care about.
I mean, I think we can all agree at this point. I would rather sell you a ketchup popsicle wearing white gloves, honey. What? Sell sand to the desert, ice to an Eskimo, whatever. I don't know. Like, obviously, this is not something that we enjoy. I mean, we all get off on glamour and making people's day and making that fairy tale come true.
Yeah.
And
Well,
with
and the thing
three
is,
of you that I have here, like, I had no idea. Like I said, the first time I was here, I was like, I didn't even know Marcy's job was a thing, right? And then I got to work with her, and I got to see her at events, and I'm like, oh my god, how stupid do I feel? And then Keith's like, well, you're pretty, and make this, you're good at this and that. And then I meet Nicole, and I'm like, well, Halloween times 10,000 plus glitter and everything else. She can do anything.
well, but the thing is
I've been trained by the best of the best.
But here's the thing: at the end of the day, as event planners, as event professionals, it gives us little or zero joy to have to redream people's dreams.
Catch up.
I mean,
I don't have white gloves. Pops are,
right?
you know.
But
There's
zero.
a lot involved to planning them. So, you know, I mean, the last thing that we want to do is rain on somebody's parade. That
Yeah.
Because we do the
envisioned.
complete opposite for a living. That's what we do.
Right. Sorry, Nicole. Nicole's like, I'm good. I don't want to talk about this.
How about them dolphins?
I'm confused about ketchup popsicle.
Oh, Keith, see what's going on here?
What's happening? Oh, the magic is disappearing.
You
Your green
cursed
screen.
me. So now I'm just gonna be like, see my fat arm? Oh,
By the
right
way-
now it's all falling down.
So by the way, Tyler
Yep,
Black.
here all goes.
Oh,
Goodbye.
there she goes. Okay, I'm gonna stop your video then for a second.
No, I'll just put up the shoe. It's fine. Go with the shoe.
Oh my God. So by the way, I was gonna say Tyler Black with Cachet Events was supposed to be joining us today with this. And he said, I'm so sorry, I lost track of time. He's been sewing masks. As I know, cool, right? He's pivoted his business a little bit. So he lost track of time because he was sewing
What is
masks.
Marcy doing? What are you pivoting, Marcy?
I'm actually studying for a certification class,
Oh yeah, and what?
and I'm selling a house.
There you
So I'm kind of a little busy.
What kind of certification?
CPCE, Certified Professional Catering and Events.
I was like, if you don't know what those initials stand for, you don't get to have that CPC. You're like catering professionals. What is that? Yeah. So, you know, with your off time, you're getting your certification, which I find amazing.
Yes, and I'm doing a lot of webinars and, you know, gaining a lot of insight from other event professionals across the entire country. And
Right.
actually out of the country as well. So, you know, it's given me that opportunity to do some of the things we don't normally do. On the other hand, I am busier now than ever.
Right.
Like
Okay.
these
So
Zoom sessions are like,
I was literally saying this for somebody that supposedly has been at home and whose events have been pushed or canceled or moved. I feel like I'm busier than ever,
Mhm.
like busier than ever. I mean, it's crazy, like literally.
It's hard when you drink all night and then you sleep until noon and then at 5 o'clock. Really fast. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You're like, oh, I only have 2 hours today. Where did my day go?
Well, I've been working on a pivot as well, because we do a lot of vintage and props and stuff. So
Right.
like, what can I do in this time? So I actually I'm starting a new Instagram. It's called Vintage Prop Stop. Vintage Prop Stop, where basically I'm putting stuff on Instagram where people can rent or buy for events. So if you're looking for that vintage typewriter because you've been wanting to have one at your, and you can't go out and shop,
Right.
then you can find it through me.
very
Actually,
cool.
I'm
I like that
gonna
idea.
I'm actually going to put that into the comments of our Facebook. Vintage, what was it again?
Vintage Prop, ROP,
Vintage Prop Pop.
shop.
Shop. Thank you. Sorry. Prop shop. Love it. All right. So I'm going to put that in. And then there she's back. I love
Listen,
it.
I'll do anything for a cigarette, so that was all planned.
Oh, that was.
I'll do anything for a
She's
cigarette.
like,
right
I
now."
gotta go. I gotta go have a cigarette during the middle of this hour-long broadcast. This is just too long. It's just too long.
Tried to be fancy.
So funny. Yeah, you finally got your green screen and then it fell.
Well, my fat ass went back on the couch and poop.
Well, you know, and so we were, by the way, Brooke, we were talking about how we're pivoting our businesses. So you know how I'm pivoting my business? I'm going to start waiting tables. That's what I'm going to do.
I'm gonna go work at the bank.
Well, no, Brooke and I actually were saying that she said to me the other day, she's like, do you want that supersized?
Oh yeah, that was today. I was like, well, thank you, please drive through.
She's like, let's practice.
Very that. Hey, my first management job, I was 19. I was assistant manager at Hardee's. Dang.
Oh, Hardee's. Oh, look at the baby.
Best mushroom and Swiss burger ever.
But still, I mean, that's the thing is that, you know, as a super small business, I feel like I have a little bit of an advantage because I don't have all the overhead of having a building, of having equipment rentals. I mean, I have a storage shed for lighting and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I'm a lot.
Yeah, right.
I'm a lot.
But, you know, the thing is that I can, if I have to, go and get a part-time job or even a full-time job and still do this on evenings and weekends if I have to. I don't want to.
I would say, yeah, but I don't want to. I just finally got comfortable to where, like, I can do this full time now. And like, psych.
Yeah, like,
Just
you know,
kidding.
second world, you know. But the thing is that so here we are trying to deal with our own emotional baggage because of everything that's going on, and we have to also be the rock for our clients and to then deliver bad news. So I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just dealing shit literally left and right. Oh my God, I cannot even believe that I went from the person that creates dreams that allow people to have their perfect day to the person that has to deliver crappy news constantly. It's like,
Now you're
and
like the
then,
conductor of nightmares.
right? And then to then have the question of, should I or shouldn't I move the date? It's like, I wish I had a crystal globe, but I don't. It's, you know, and the thing is how do you also still be a human being for your clients? I mean, there's no real clear cut answer,
Right.
is there?
And you're also affected personally on your own personal level,
Right.
in addition to their level, you know, to dealing with them. Your emotional.
You're gonna have, like, with that comes like your partner, your husband or your wife that you're, you know, in it with. Like, I know Jacob helps us, Keith, with you, and he has his thing and mine has his, and we've pulled him on so many jobs, and it's like, well, you know, it just sucks. It really does, because this is something that I've grown to love so much in the last 2 years and look forward to, and it gives me so much joy. I light up, and it's super unfortunate, but you know what? You got to keep hope and faith. Shit, self-doubt, just get it away. Just those words, you just have to just push them out. I know it's extremely hard, but you know, you still have to look at the positive aspect of it. And I know it's hard, especially when you own your own business and you're involved. Keith, like I've said before, has become not only my boss, but one of my most incredible financial advisors and best friends. You know what I'm saying? And it's really hard for me to see the man that I adore and love so much have to sit here and have to even think about these kinds of things. And that trickles down to Marcy and Nicole. You know, we're a tight-knit group. I mean, we work with lots and lots of different people, but it's like, you know, I have my little home base, and this is it right here with about 2 more others. But
so, by the way, Cheryl says she misses all of us. So we miss you too, Cheryl. I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, guys, I mean, we have to come up with options for people. You know, not only, I think some of the hard work has happened at this point, and I keep fidgeting because this is such a tough subject for us to even talk about. You know, I feel like a lot of the hard work is now done because we've had to deliver the bad news. We've had to move those dates. We've had to, you know, readjust some people's, you know, dream day. And now I think that hopefully we'll be able to get back to work with creating new opportunities, new ways of doing an event. And, you know, I'm hoping that while the rest of the world continues to crash, because now that we've reopened, I feel like we're going to have that second spike, that third spike. We're going to see things that are just devastating. And, you know, and I'm hoping that us as event professionals and the maker of dreams figure out a way to recreate people's dreams. I mean,
I do think that we'll come
or if
back.
anything, still give them hope.
Yeah.
I do think
we do.
I do think that we, as a whole, I think that our industry will come back, and it will come back not just stronger, but I think it's going to be much more creative. I mean, I think that ultimately, because we're having to think outside the box now,
yeah,
for something that nobody has ever in anybody's lifetime has ever had to deal with before.
Right.
It's putting us in a position of gaining knowledge is power. And so it's going to propel us down the road. It's just getting to that point and getting, you know, finding that when is that going to open up? And not, like you said, Keith, none of us have that crystal ball.
Right.
You know? So it's really about getting to that point, and that's when things will start, we'll have those 200 and 300 people events.
I think we're gonna be looking at a lot of masquerade events going in the future.
Yes.
Masquerade.
I actually love that idea, by the way.
Right, honey.
There is nothing wrong with a fabulous masquerade event where, I mean, if we're gonna have to wear masks anyway, why not do an event that incorporates it 100%?
You all are about to see what you can really do with diamonds and pearls.
Right? Oh, I love that, diamonds and pearls.
You have a million themes of the masquerade. You could do a pirate themed masquerade. You could do a tropical themed masquerade. You could do glamorous, I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff. So I see a lot of masquerade events in our future.
100%. And actually,
Totally.
so it was really funny because Karen says she's in the costume rental business and she's starting to rent costumes for people's home videos. I love that idea.
You saw that video. I don't know. You saw that video I put online about Michael when he was dressed up as like a pirate to take the bin out. Did you see that? The garbage bin?
Oh,
I watched.
Didn't get to see it yet. I have to tune into it. I'll do that like right after the show.
There's this huge thing that's going across, it's around the world, but it started in Australia because people they had such a strict quarantine there, and they're still under a very strict quarantine, much stricter than we've had here. And they've had many less cases. But so the only outing people had was taking their garbage bins out to the end of their driveway.
Oh, I saw this.
Yes, and so they've been doing these crazy themes, or the whole family getting involved to take the garbage bins out. I see. So,
yeah, I do. I love this. It's the father and daughter, and each day they wear a different costume when
it's called the bin something.
It's really cute. Oh my God, it's so sweet to see this father-daughter taking out the trash in different costumes every day. It's just the sweetest thing.
This is like there's millions of people involved in this group now.
Well, that's the thing. And so people like Karen, who does costumes. Well, I mean, you do costumes, Nicole.
Hold on a second. I'm typing you the name here in the chat. Sorry.
Okay, but Nicole, I mean, you do costume rentals. I mean, how fabulous would this be to be able to pivot your business to a point where you could ship people beautiful chandeliers for their event, or because we're doing smaller and smaller events and people are doing more things in their home, not having to buy. Oh, what is that?
I was just gonna say fire and ice too, and there's Elsa.
When did you get into my closet?
So, or if you want to do hippie, like here's a.
Oh, I love it.
Aww.
Or if you're feeling really nostalgic, you could do some 80s acid wash.
Oh, come on, sun wash jeans.
Oh gosh, can you imagine mom jeans and acid wash? Mom jeans and acid wash.
How about this? If you're feeling a Raggedy Annie,
Oh no, I was like Little House on the Prairie. Anyone?
Laura Ingalls Wilder. Yes, that's me. I remember.
This is totally you. Totally.
I have two of those.
I feel like there's some role playing coming on.
Look at these.
I only shit in those.
The big puffy.
This is like black velvet vintage from the 80s.
I love that. You're giving me all the 1992 crash and drag I want to see right now.
I'm just saying Dynasty, man. It's fulfilling my dynasty fantasies there. I love it.
That's how we take out the garbage.
That's how you take out the garbage. That is
But
awesome.
I did catch Michael on the with the pirate, and so now every time I say something about you or Michael, my husband always says, who are you talking to, or who are you chatting with, or whatever. And I'll say, Pirate Man. Where's that video?
Oh my God, I love
That's Nicole, his wife.
Yeah, well, Michael's philosophy is if you can't be yourself, be a pirate. So
exactly.
By the way, Abby, I keep reading that we're getting some great comments, but Abby was saying we all have to keep the hope. We are going to give others a new virtual reality experience in some ways. This is exciting. I saw an invitation that read, new date, new concept, same love story.
Mhm.
Oh, see, that's the tea right there.
Aw.
Yeah.
I mean,
Love it.
just like this conversation, we over the last hour, we have talked about the troubles, the issues. took a little darker turn because as we work through it, but here we are, you know, at the end, going towards the end of the hour, and now we're starting to talk about the cool stuff, the interesting stuff, the new reality. And I think real pain causes some really incredible creative juices to happen.
I feel like it's taking, you know, tears into trying harder. You know what I mean? That's what that is. It's taking tears into trying harder.
But I do like the idea of a virtual reality experience. I mean, what if you took it not just about having it broadcasted, but that you sent people goggles and you were able to create a way for them to actually be there. And like
send a dinner to somebody.
Right.
Yes.
Send them a dinner.
You can send party
put on the goggles, and then that you can
sparkles
and talk to each other. I mean, the technology is there. We could do something like that. We could create something like that. I mean, even let's say that, well, but let's say that we have 100 people invited to a wedding, and let's say that, you know, 80 of them say yes, but then at the end of the day, you have 20 of them that are too afraid to, you know, travel. I mean, that's basically, we could create 2 tables of 10 that are just virtual reality, and each of them could be sent to goggles so that they're sitting at a table together and being able to see the rest of the party.
Interesting.
Right? I love that. I love this idea. I think that there's something to this. I mean, I feel like there's some real dirt in this.
Well, we've had to do it. You know, we're, instead of meeting at 5-star hotels and different venues and events, like what we're used to, this is what we're doing. So it's working. You know what I'm saying? As far as my sanity, I need to see you guys once a week. Like, this is my job. I get up at 9 in the morning, hair, makeup, you know, bath, all that. You know what I mean? So there's definitely a lot of hope going on, and I see the future, and it's our job to make that future bright.
It is.
You know what? Honestly, that's what we do. And it's a little disheartening in these times right now when it does come down to our businesses and our finances and these kind of things too. But it's still our job to make this happen. And I know that we will. Honestly, I know we can make this happen.
So, by the way, just to FYI, I keep wiping my eyes, not because I'm crying, but because I forgot to turn on the AC to a lower temperature. Did you not vacuum the cat, darling? I keep sweating a little bit, so I'm wiping the sweat. So, yeah, thank you for your concerns, but there's nothing wrong. I'm fine. I'm like not crying over this broadcast, but even though I may, you know, look back at it and cry later, but that's all right. So then, okay, I'm going to go back to the original question, and so we can have our final thoughts. You know, and I'll start with you, Marcy. Should I or shouldn't I? What are your like final thoughts on this?
I think at this point, if it were me, I would probably postpone it. I might do something small for like, even if I were to get married, I would probably do the ceremony and have my like very, very immediate family there. But aside from that, I probably would postpone it and do more of a bigger celebration next year.
So when you say postpone it, through what date are you thinking people should postpone? Like, is it through October? Is it through December? Is it through, like, what is your?
I want to say probably next spring, summerish.
Like, in other words, anything that's from here until the end of the year should be moved. You feel like that's like better to move it?
I think.
I get that. How about you, Nicole? What do you think?
I want people to have their events because I want to go back to work. No, but and not kidding aside, you know, it's really hard. The uncertainty is hard. I know nothing in life is certain, but the not knowing is probably what's worse than anything.
Yeah.
I don't really see a lot of events that are going to be happening in the fall. I know previously people were rescheduling to fall. You know, I think a lot of people are just going to be kind of waiting out 2020. So I agree with Marcy if you want to do something small and then do something bigger later, but I don't think we're going to see a lot going on through the end of this year unless something dramatic changes. But I think everybody's waiting to see now that things are opening back up. What does happen? Are we going to get a big spike? Are we going to see huge numbers? Are we all just waiting for the herd immunity to kick in? And then, so it's tough. So I would probably say err on the side of caution.
That's interesting because I'm actually going to go against both of y'all because I think that a great event can still happen in the fall. It's just that we need to rethink how we invite people. So just like I went down to the Keys to see my mom this last weekend. Well, the 10 days prior to the trip, we were extra careful. We were extra okay, social distancing, washing our hands, put on the mask, just so that way we can make sure that we were not infected when we go down there. And I feel like weddings can do the same thing. Like the people that really want to be at your wedding, and we're not talking about the people that ask if there's an open bar when they first get the invite. We're talking about the people that are like, oh my God, I'm so excited that you're getting married. I think those people, you could say, we're getting married October 24th. So by October 14th, we're asking that, after October 14th, that you really start paying attention, because we want you to be here and we want you to be healthy. I mean, there's got to be a way to do an invite.
That's a good way to say it.
Right?
Yep.
There's got to be a way to do an invite like that. Or, that even can bring up the mask thing. Like you send people masks and it's like, look, this mask is intended for you to start on October 14th so to make sure that we keep you happy and healthy until we get to see you in person.
I totally think that could go on a reception card,
Right.
We ask that our guests please refrain from positioning themselves in a harmful situation between 14 days before the event or 20 days before the event,
Right.
and then to please come with your masks, and if you do feel sick, please do not come. Seriously, fortunately you have to
You
give
can't sit with us.
you have to give your guests that out, because sometimes people feel obligated to come because they've said yes, and the thing you would want is somebody to show up and come and infect everybody else. So why not put that on there?
Yeah, I think that's actually a very good thing to say, is like, look, we don't feel obligated because you told us yes. If you feel sick, it's fine that you cancel.
Right.
Last minute, because I think that's going to be coming. Before it used to be, damn it, all these people keep canceling last minute. And I think now if people cancel last minute, you're gonna be like, okay, good, they're sick. I don't want you here. So, maybe that'll change our thought process. And then what about you, Brooke? Final thoughts?
Well, to me, it's just going to boil down to, it's going to be two things. If you really cannot wait, look at your guest list.
Yeah.
Who could you not live without attending your wedding and your special day? We do weddings. I think the smallest one I've done is probably 120 with you.
Right.
I don't know, 120 people. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. I think at the end of the day, people's guest lists are going to get much more specific.
You really have to sit there and be like, if this has to happen now, and maybe people are even more scared now, more so than ever, that they want to rush it now. Do you know what I mean? You never know what's
Right.
going on in their head and their thought process as well. So you have to look at the balance. You got to balance that out somehow. So if you really actually desperately have to have this wedding now, then maybe you're gonna have to. If you work with me and myself and Keith, you're definitely gonna have to follow by some guidelines, because we have to, and we don't want to make anybody unsafe and risk anybody. So you really have to at that point, and it's okay to be selfish. Let's not take away the fact that that bride has every right to have her day and feel that a little disheartened and a little upset about it. But we all need to come together and work together as a team, not be upset about if this and that's the nature of the business too. That's why we were hired to begin with, because you couldn't do it without us. Do you know what I'm saying? So you've got avenues to look at. You either have to shorten up maybe your guest list, or look at Zooms, or I love the sending a plate idea for maybe the elderly or stuff like that. Different ways around it. There's different ideas that you can come up with, but if you absolutely cannot move the date, then that's going to be something that you have to look at, and that'll keep us on our toes.
Yeah.
Which I love a good challenge. I'm not afraid of that, but
Okay. So
those are my final thoughts.
So here's the thing, as I think what we've discussed today is that everybody is just as confused about what to do in the future. Nobody has the crystal ball. It is going to be an absolute personal choice about whether or not you move forward. But I think the most important thing for our guests who are watching is that you have event professionals that whatever decision you decide to do, that you have somebody that makes sure that it's as safe and as joyous as possible. You know, keep it in October, don't keep it in October. Whichever way you decide, or November or December, whichever way you decide, you need to have somebody that's going to be there to make sure that all of your guests feel safe, and that if they can't attend, find ways for them to be a part of it. Should I or shouldn't I?
Absolutely.
It's going to be a personal choice, and honestly, it goes along with everything else in this year. It sucks. It's a sucky choice. But at the end of the day, your event is going to be beautiful and amazing and joyous, because that's what weddings are. So whatever way you choose to go, it's not going to make your wedding less important or less in your mind, because I guarantee you every single time I've had a client move their date or had to do something last minute because of whatever emergency that was happening, they still loved everything that happened on their day.
Nothing will ever be, it'll still be just as fabulous as before.
Yeah. Right? What do you all think? Yeah? All right.
110%.
I think it's actually going to be amazing, because people who are still, together after all of this.
Yeah.
You're not, we're not saying it's going to be a little more intimate. Just
it's
saying,
like
it already was, it's going
yeah.
to definitely be now.
It just signifies that they're ready for marriage.
All right, my loves. Thank you so much for being here again. I can't wait to see you all next Tuesday on Behind the Veil.
What did you call me?
Behind the Veil. I called you what? I called you what? Anyway, I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to all of our Facebook people that are watching. Every Tuesday at 2, if you like what we're talking about, if you don't like what we're talking about, tune in. You never quite know what kind of trouble we're gonna get into. All right, guys. I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.